Okay, hey everybody. I ordered this little koi watercolor set by Sakura because it's gotten good reviews and I really like the idea of learning to do more pen and ink and watercolor sketching outside of the house and inside from my photographs. And so I'm going to unbox this and color swatch it out and give it a good little test. Again, I am an acrylic painter largely. I have painted in acrylics for years and done some chalk pastel portraits and pet portraits for years, but I have never tried watercolor where I didn't try to muddy it up because I overworked it. So I'm learning from other YouTubers how to actually get this done and how I can use this to help change my life in my 50s and beyond. And so I want other people to understand that it's not too late to follow your dreams and your passions. So anyway, I'm going to open these up and I'm going to color swatch them out, and I'm going to use my cute little new, this is my little travel water thing, but I really like it because it's very cute and has a little bare bottom. But it was really cheap on Amazon. Just look for travel water cups. And let's get started. Okay, I just have an old rag that I'm using to blot my brush, but we'll worry about the brush when we get into it because there is a brush in here. So let's check this out. And I also recently painted my nails because they were looking raggedy, and I don't know if I've waited long enough, so hopefully I won't get nail polish all over everything. All right, so this is the 30 color Sakura Koi watercolor set. It is the pocket field sketch box, which I really like because if you choose to, if you like to paint more upright, you can cut your paper to fit inside the box, which was a selling point for me. And another selling point was that it's 30 colors. Because I'm relatively new at watercolor, I want to make sure that I have plenty of colors and don't have to do a whole lot of color mixing early on. So I want to make sure that I have plenty of colors to use. So let's open this up and see what we've got. Trying to be precious with my nails. I need to just wait for them to dry, I think. All right, let's pull this out. Cute little box. I love the size. Look at the size. This is going to be perfect for traveling. I have an urban sketching local group that I've joined, and I have been working in gouache in that group, and I'm really excited to use this out there in the wild for our next meetup. So this is the pretty it's all plastic. For those of you who like metal better, this might be a little challenge for you, but it's all plastic. There's a little palette right here, in here, and it sticks in these little holes. It has little pedestals that stick right in these little holes, which is awesome. You can set it here if you're flat, or you can set it here and then use this to put your cutout of paper in there. I'm probably going to do that. I'll probably cut my swatch to that size. I probably won't ever go outside of a sketchbook to do the actual painting. I like my sketchbook flat when I'm doing stuff that's wet. Now, here is their little brush. It's one of these little brushes. It's got a little plug. And I'm going to use this brush and this brush only for now because that is what I'm going to do, because that's what comes with the set and that's what I'm trying out. It's got a little sponge over here where you can blot your brush, and in case you forget your rag, that's really handy. I kind of wish there was one over here too, but a lot of times they do this so people can put their little mixing bowl right here on the side. Now I'm left-handed, so my sketchbook is going to be over here, and it's nice to have the mixing right here, or I might decide that I'd rather have it over there on the right-hand side to not get in the way of my sketchbook. But for now, let's just put it right here where it says to go. And then I'm going to fill this little pen up with water. Now, some people complained that the pen is counterintuitive. You have to turn it counterclockwise to close it and clockwise to open it. So it's not righty
tidy lefty loosey, it's the opposite. So keep that in mind. To me, it's not that big of an aggravation. I mean, come on. Okay, so because I don't have a little funnel or anything, I'm going to use one of my little, I've got one of these handy that I'm just going to, let's move this water over where we can see it. And I'm just going to suck up the water and put it right here in this pen. I think these pens are really handy. I have a few of them. Are really handy for when you're out in the wild. I'd rather use my regular brushes here in the studio at home, but when you're out, these are so nice because you don't have to carry a water receptacle with you. You've got your water right in here. Okay, so let me pop that back on. Now this is the first time I've ever used this, obviously, as I just now opened this. I've never seen these brushes or this particular brush or set before. So I'm just going to put this over here with the little plug for later so I can put it away later. And I really like this. It seems really fun because you, like I said, you don't have to carry water with you if you're out doing a sketch. The amount of water in here is enough to do 1 or 2 sketches. It's more than enough, especially if you're using a small sketchbook paper. Now I'm going to use this one. It's just called Weichen Classic. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm just doing it because it looks German, so I'm going to try to pronounce it in German. It's classic canvas paper in white. It was a really super, super cheap watercolor paper that I got off Amazon. And I'm going to cut it. This is some practicing that I've been doing with another watercolor artist and some other sketches I've done on the trail. But I'm just going to pull out a piece of this. Maybe I'll pull out of the back because I don't want to ruin the middle in case it loosens the spine. There. Pull this piece out of the back, and then I'm going to cut it to fit this. I'll probably speed you up for that process because you don't want to have to listen to or look at it for very long. I'm going to cap this for a minute, set it over here to the side, and then I'm going to cut this to fit, and then I'm going to swatch out all the colors. Now the white, obviously you won't be able to see, but I'm going to put a little ink outline, maybe pencil, probably pencil, graphite outline of each little square so I can swatch these out. Now, somewhere in here should be, oh yes, on the back of the box, there is the colors. In here, it's just the numbers of the colors. So this is Chinese white, lemon yellow, on and on. I will write the actual names in tiny handwriting underneath each color that I swatch. So I'll probably speed you up while I'm doing this because it's going to take me forever and ever and ever. So here we go. Now I'm going to slow down and say I'm starting in the middle of this. We've got almost 6 inches wide, so I'm going to start at 3 inches and start with my first color right here at the 3-inch mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many colors are in the row, in the column, or in the row. And then there will be 5 down the column. So we're going to make sure we're able to get those markings in first so I don't run out of space by making my little color squares too big. Can you see me? Am I there? I think I'm in the picture. Okay, let's go upside down here.
Okay, this direction we've got 4 inches and I need 5 bits of color. So I'm going to start in the middle and have my middle color right across that middle line. And then 1 and 2 on this side. And then 1 and 2 on this side. So now I've lined out my colors, so now I can just get a rough straight edge along the bottom line. Again, we're not being too precious with the beauty of this since I'm just swatching out the colors to see what they look like. I would recommend doing this with any new group of colors you get. Now I'm going to leave enough room to write little bitty what these colors are when I'm finished. Okay, back to speeding. I'm a lefty, so I turn my paper the wrong way. The wrong way. I put wrong in quotes.
Okay, I think I might bend this up a little bit and do a little bit of this because I kind of want the color to puddle down as that red one has done, because then it shows me kind of a range of what I can do with that color. It can be very light at the top and very dark at the bottom. I don't want it to be so much that it keeps puddling, but so I will move this so you can see the color now. This one's almost opaque. Did I have enough water on it? Let's see if I can pick up some of that on the top and lighten it up a little bit. It's pretty opaque though. It's a sort of magenta color, not as opaque, but pretty. Now when you're out, you'll just be squeezing a little water out of the brush to clean it off, since you won't have a water receptacle with you, but I'm taking the fast way. Since I'm swatching so many colors, you won't be using all of these colors every time you go out to paint. It's a little more awkward to paint in that upright position, but I do want it to kind of drift down. Purpley. I like the purpley. This one's sort of a magenta, and then there's a really purpley right next to it. All right, now we're down into the blues. I like how they laid out the colors here. We're going from white through the yellows and oranges, through the reds and purples, then into the blues. So it's fitting the circumference of the color wheel. I need more water coming out there. Come on. Drippy drip. If you get too much, not to worry. You can dry your brush and soak it up with your brush, or just use your rag to blot it out a little bit. It's kind of more of a cobalt blue, looks like. I like cobalt blue when I'm working with skies, especially in the autumn time. That looks like a Prussian blue, but I don't know because I don't have the box right in front of me. I will be writing these down as I go. Let's see. I'm curious now. No, it's ultramarine. Prussian blue is 2 down. That makes sense. That's Prussian blue. Yeah, that does make sense. It's very opaque, very dark. It's kind of like this red up here. No matter how much water you get in it, it's pretty opaque. Let me dry my brush out. Dry it and see if I can pick up some of that. Yeah, just be aware when painting that it'll be more difficult to pick some of that back up and make a lighter color, but it's not impossible. It's working. So, all right, on to the greens. I'm really pleased with these colors. They're very vibrant. And of course black, which I will very rarely probably use, as I prefer to mix my colors in black. All right, stage one complete. What I really love, just my comments here before I even know what the colors are that are here, is that these are very vibrant colors. And I feel like there's such a good range of colors that you would find in nature. You've got autumn colors, you've got some of the more olive greens that you find out in nature. You've got the cobalt blue, and I think, I can't remember what this one is yet, but I'll look. You've got these that make great sky colors, and you don't really, I don't think I'm gonna have to do a lot of mixing of colors together to get what I want. This blue is so black that I could use it as my black if I ever need to, and mix it with a little sienna and have a very good black that's a little more deep and in-depth than regular black. But I really like these colors for such a low cost kit that I just ordered from Amazon. Again, it's the Sakura Koi watercolors. This is the 30 count. I paid up a little bit above the 24 count because I wanted, as I said, to have a larger variety of colors. These are called little half trays. I would actually probably call them a third trays, but
because the colors are so vibrant and because these dry cakes are, you know, they're going to be relatively deep, about a 1/4 inch deep. Because these are so vibrant in color, I'm not going to have to use a lot for coverage. So these are going to last for a very long time, especially with me, because I'm going to use them mostly sketching. I'm doing more sketching these days because it's becoming a happy place for me. I really enjoy it. But let's get on to writing down these colors. First, I'm going to dry this off, move this out of the way. Now I could, as I said before, instead of a rag, I could have used this sponge to get the color out of my brush before moving on to another color. And also look at how little color I used to swatch out all 30 of those. I've only used about 3/4 of an inch of water in this pen. I don't know if you can see the water line, but it's right here. So I would be able to do at least another full sketch, maybe 2, just using the water in this pen. So if you're worried about not having enough water, you could bring a small closed, my little water dish has a lid, so you could bring a little enclosed thing of water in your bag when you're out and about, but you don't necessarily need to have it. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so you could use a little more water in your pen by wiping off the color on this little sponge, but I kind of feel like this little sponge is probably going to be saturated pretty fast, so I always carry an old rag with me. Plus, it's watercolor, so you can wash your rags and reuse them over and over and over again so they don't go to the landfill. All right, so I'm going to move on to swatching the color, so I'm going to move this out of my way. And I have this neat little handy dandy tool that my husband handed off to me because he got one for his workshop that he likes better. It's just a little dryer, and you can recharge it with the USB, so you don't have to have it corded all the time. It's got a charger, and it's a universal charger for Android, Samsung, etc., which is what I'm filming this on, is my Samsung camera. It also stays cool. It doesn't get hot like a dryer, so I'm just drying it enough so when I start writing in the colors, okay, I'll come back in just a second. Okay, we're mostly dry, so I'm going to come in. Woo! Let's try that again. I almost had myself a little accident. I pulled my table too hard and it tipped forward. Okay, so they're mostly dry, so I'm going to go through and write the name of the ink down. I do not, since I'm going to keep this swatch up in the little top of the watercolor kit, so while I'm out and about, I can paint in my sketchbook but still color reference what I want. I'm going to write down these little colors using my black preppy ink pen. It's got a cartridge in it. Now this ink pen I'm having a little trouble with. It doesn't seem to want to write except in a straight up and down fashion. So I'm going to be experimenting with that a little bit too, but I might need to return it for a better model or just use my other pen that is higher quality. Okay, this is Chinese white. Okay, and this pretty color is a lemon yellow. I think I'm going to go one word on top of the other. And then we have my eyes. Aural
aureoline hue. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a yellow hue. Hue tends to mean it's much more translucent than other colors. If it says hue, usually that means it's pretty translucent. Okay, so now we have permanent yellow. And then we have permanent yellow deep. Might be the type of watercolor paper I'm using this pen on. And then we have permanent orange. Now, I don't know if permanent means that it'll stay in place if you paint something else over it or not. I doubt it, because this is watercolor after all. You can re-wet these colors and move them around a little bit, but maybe they're a little more stuck fast to the paper than some other colors might be. Okay, on to the second row. The first one is Jaune, Jaune Brilliant. Is pink. Kind of a peachy pink. And it's not quite dry, so. There it goes. You just have to hold it like exactly right or it won't write for you. Vermilion hue. Again, this is a hue, so it's a little more translucent. This is a cadmium red. This says cadmium red hue, but that's pretty opaque. Crimson Lake. This one is quinacridone rose. I knew that was going to be a quinacridone, but I thought it might be a lighter magenta. And then purple violet. Didn't give myself much space for that one. All right, third row. We have a cobalt blue hue. We have a cerulean blue hue, another good sky color. An ultramarine deep. And it is pretty deep. Then we have a turquoise blue. And then here's the Prussian. And then indigo. Okay, it's like a very dark, dark blue-black color. What they're calling indigo. Now let's get down here. Now we have permanent green pale. I did not leave me as much room on these two rows as I did on the upper rows. That's what happens when I don't measure things out. And this is permanent green. And we have my eyes are older. I don't even know what that says. Let's see. Let me hold it up to the light. Looks like it says Vinden hue, so okay, we'll go with that. That's why I thought I couldn't see it, because I've never heard that actual color before. Name. And then we have Permanent Green Deep. And now we have Sap Green. And then Olive Green. All right, bottom row, here we come. Now we have a Yellow Ochre. And then we have, it just says Light Red. That seems weird. Light red, really? Thought they were going to call it like a raw umber. It looks like an umber. I'm going to put umber here. And then we have a burnt umber. And then we have sepia, or sepia, I don't know. Somebody correct me. I have a master's degree in English. However, I grew up in a very rural community with parents who didn't use, in the Midwest, with parents who didn't use fancy words. So I read them in literature and I read them in art, but I never learned how to pronounce them myself because I read them off a page. So, for example, this sepia, I've read it all my life, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it because I've never heard it spoken out loud. Same with, I used to read that somebody gingerly did something, but found out in adulthood that that was gingerly. So it was kind of embarrassing, but I had never heard it spoken out loud. Who uses the word gingerly in a sentence in normal conversation? But anyway, so there are always going to be gaps in our learning and education, no matter how high our education level is or how low it is. We continue to learn throughout our lives, and that's okay. There's no need to be embarrassed about inability to pronounce something because you've never heard it out loud before. Payne's Gray is this one. And the very last one is Ivory Black. Now, that's the swatch of colors. And let me grab my pen thing. The pen actually worked a little bit better on this paper than it has on some of my other watercolor papers, so that's good. I may not have to return it after all. But here is the swatching for this thing, and I'm going to come back to you in just a second with my final review of this product. Okay, so there you have it. I'm going to give you my final review of these koi watercolors by Sakura. So far, I am finding these beautiful and vibrant. In fact, I have a feeling that I'm going to enjoy using these when I'm out and about more than my gouache colors, which is saying something. I'm new to gouache as well, and I have a really cool travel palette that has water reservoirs on either side that my gouache palette is in, but I am really liking this particular palette due to, number one, the variety of colors. There is one that has 48 colors, but I feel like the colors are just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller in the travel set, and this was the smallest I wanted to go. Plus, I feel like the 30 colors in this particular sketchbook, and it's called the Pocket Field Sketchbox, if you want to go look it up. It's the Koi Watercolors Pocket Field Sketchbox. By Sakura is the company. They're fine quality transparent watercolors. They're 30 colors. As I said, they said they're half pans. I feel as if they're probably more like 1/3 pans, but I don't know. I'm not used to watercolors, so I don't know, but they're perfectly fine for going out and about. So I'm really enjoying the vibrance of these colors. I mean, this lemon yellow is lemon yellow. It's bright. And I love some of the deeper colors. I love the color changes, so you can use various colors. I really like this indigo because I feel like it's going to make a good shadow color without having to use black and gray very often. And I can mix this with some of the siennas and stuff depending on what I'm painting to make a more vibrant black than the flat black and gray. Okay, all of the greens are just beautiful. We've got permanent green pale, which looks kind of like an apple or fall autumn green color. Permanent green regular, Vinden hue. I do not know what Vinden is, but it's a nice kind of a blue-green color. Green-blue, I guess I should say. It's more green than blue, but there's blue in there definitely. This is permanent green deep, more opaque than the other colors, darker certainly. Sap green, which I really like for the mid-tones in trees and vines. And I'm talking, I use sap green in my acrylics a lot for my mid-tones. I paint, like I said, mostly acrylic paintings, so this is a new foray into watercolor. I haven't done watercolor since probably high school, and that's been a very long time ago, and I'm not going to tell you how long that is. Anyway, let's just say some of my favorite bands were the Steve Miller Band and the Thompson Twins, and, you know, a lot of new wave stuff and a lot of 70s and 80s rock. So let's just say that and leave it there. That dates me right there. It doesn't even matter. I'm older Gen X. I'm at the top of the Gen X age group, and I'm okay with that. Anyway, so all of these beautiful colors, I think, are going to help me a lot when I'm out painting in the field, because there are so many different varieties of colors in this 30 color kit that I don't think I'm going to have to do a lot of mixing to get the colors that I want. Most of these colors are already what I want. So I like that. That's nice. The Chinese white, obviously you're not going to be able to see it on here because it's white on white paper. I probably should have tinted the paper with something, but I don't care really if the Chinese white is terribly opaque because I'm not going to be using it often. So I might use it and use it very thickly in case I didn't leave something white that I wanted white, but there are very few whites in nature, so that doesn't matter to me anyway. So for all of this, I am going to give this probably right now, I haven't done any paintings with it yet, but right now I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I give it not 1 point, maybe 10 out of 10. For example, all of this has just turned out really nicely. I like this little pan where I can keep my colors. I'm probably going to get a little sticky tack and stick it in there so it'll stay in there. And I really like this extra side pan that I can mix in. And I really like that I can mix these colors and use my sketchbooks next to or near them to paint when I'm out in the field. I have a little lap thing that I can use, so I'm not like just A lot of people think that this is too big to take with them. They like the little tiny mini watercolor kits. I'm not there yet. I would rather have these dry watercolors and a little bit more space. And again, I can even put this up here and give myself more space for a sketchbook right here. I don't have to see all these colors all the time. Or I can just lift it up to look at the colors underneath without tilting or running the color off my page. Or I can put it over here on this side and have my sketchbook over here. There are so many different ways I can use this, but what I really love is that I can put it all back together again. I think I might have turned it around the wrong way because that looks kind of funny. Let's go this way. See if it makes a difference. Oh yes, that's the inside. So there is an orientation. If you're little tray, mixing tray, hangs over the lip here, you'll want to turn it around the other direction because then it fits inside. But this is just so nice. You can just close this up. Well, you know, I forgot to put my brush back. Let's see how easy that is. There's this little plug. Okay, I'm turning it the wrong way again, I think. Come on, dude. Okay. Well, I guess it is lefty-loosey. Okay, depends on which one you twist, I guess, top or bottom. You can just plug that up, lay it right in here, at the top of your brush, snap it down correctly, top of your brush right in here, and then close that bad boy right up. It's great. This will fit in my bag that I take with me on local excursions, along with a sketch pad or two, and my little bag that carries my pencil, sketching pencil and pens is right here. Yes, this is a 4H, which means it's a hard, H means hard, or it is hard, and the 4 means it's really, really, really hard. It's a very light, hard pencil, so you can make really fine and not too solid lines with. But anyway, just a little extra for you. But I keep my brushes in there. I keep my clips to hold my pages back. I keep all of my pens and a little palette knife just in case in there, and a pencil, one graphite pencil. And then this is a double-sided one. In the other side, I have a little craft knife if I need it. A little washi tape if I want to tape edges around something. And I'm good to go. That's my kit. Oh, and a rag. That's my kit. It's great. It's wonderful. So I'm really impressed with these watercolors. I hope that if you have them, you're enjoying them. Please give me some feedback. Tell me what you think about them if you have them, or whether or not you want to try them out. Or if you have any issues with what you saw, let me know what you think, and we'll talk about it. All right, so hit the like button, helps my algorithm, please. Subscribe if you haven't, if you'd like to just become a community, be part of a community of people who do lots of different ways of art, like sketching, sketchbooking, plein air, out in the wild, and just painting in acrylics, or even sometimes I do a little fluid art and pour painting for backgrounds for my acrylic paintings. So come on back, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day.